What are the real pros and cons of living in Calgary, Alberta? This is one of the main questions that I get all the time from people wanting to potentially move here. And while Calgary has absolutely a lot going for it, there definitely might be a few things that might surprise you, especially if you're coming from places like Vancouver, Toronto, or even just abroad. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the pros and the cons so that you can decide if this place is the right fit for you. Now also make sure that you stick around to the end because some of the cons will definitely surprise you, but they can impact your decision if you're thinking about making the move here. I've actually lived in multiple different places in the world, some places including Eastern Europe, South America. I've traveled and lived across Canada. So after personally experiencing many different places to live, I've decided to relocate and plant myself in Calgary, Alberta. And for me, it ultimately just really came down to the opportunities that Calgary is presenting, the lifestyle, and just like the mix of the nature and the city life. It is a really great place to live. Hey everybody, my name is Brandon Oishi, and I am a real estate agent here in Calgary, Alberta. And on this channel, I'm going to share with you guys a lot about what it's like living here, the different types of neighborhoods there are, what the cost of living is, the pros and the cons, and ultimately what different homes look like in different price points. I'm also going to be doing lots of property tours and walkthroughs so that you guys can get a first-hand look of what Calgary homes look like if you're potentially thinking about moving here. So if that's something that you're looking for, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive right into the video, guys. So let's talk about the cons. The first one is the winters in Calgary. Yes, a lot of people talk about how brutal it is, and it is true. They are pretty long, they are pretty brutal. It can get as cold as minus 20 to 30 with the wind chills. So it can definitely be cold, especially if you're coming from somewhere outside of Canada and you're not used to the weather. Now, the good news about Calgary is that it is actually sunny for most of the year. It is actually sunny during the winter, which isn't too bad. And we also get something that is called the Chinook winds. And Chinooks are very warm winds that come through and they really just warm you up, and it tends to melt snow and ice. And this happens very quickly. And if you're moving to Calgary, you are gonna have to be prepared for a real Canadian winter. So the next thing to keep in mind about Calgary as well is that it is a very car-dependent city. Calgary is geographically a very large city. If you guys look at the map, there's tons of roads, there's tons of highways, but it is actually really big. And a lot of the communities are very spread out around the city. While there is a lot of public traffic, including the C train, many people just end up relying on driving around the city. So if you do live in these suburban communities, you're probably gonna have to rely on buying a vehicle. Transit is just gonna be a bit of a pain in the ass, and it's gonna take you about 20, sometimes 40 minutes to get into the city. So if you're coming from a very large city like New York, if you're coming from Toronto, even Vancouver or Europe, you're going to feel that Calgary is a very suburban feeling city. And another con that people end up realizing when they move to Calgary is the actual size of the city. So Calgary has grown a lot over the last few years, and it just keeps on continuing to expand outward and outward, which means that a lot of the communities are just getting further and further away from the downtown core. And ultimately, this can make the city just feel a lot more spread out compared to a lot of the older cities. But the benefit of that is that you end up being able to purchase bigger homes, there's more space. If you have a family, you can have more room, like a backyard. And it's just overall a really fun place because there's a lot of room to grow, right? There's a lot of opportunities in investing, there's a lot of opportunities in development. This is the place to be, especially if you are an entrepreneur and you want to get ahead in life. Calgary gives you that opportunity. Because of these reasons, Calgary is probably one of the best places to build a future in Canada, in my opinion. With that being said, another thing to notice is Calgary's economy. In the past, Calgary has been strongly connected to the oil and energy sectors. So that means the city itself has gone through multiple inclines and declines. It's like a roller coaster. It's very tied to the energy sector. So ultimately, with that being said, it's going to have its ups and downs. But the good news is that Calgary over the recent years has been diversifying its economy. For example, there's been a lot of investment in big tech, finances, logistics, and other industries as well. So there's a lot of opportunity other than just oil and the trades out here. But it is definitely still something that a lot of people still consider when they're making the move here. And now the last con we're going to talk about in general is the weather here. Calgary is actually very sunny throughout most of the year, but the weather can change pretty quickly. Like one day it's going to be minus 20 degrees and then the next day it's going to be sunny and you can probably wear a t-shirt. It's the weirdest thing, and if you're not used to it, it's probably going to throw you off. The city can even experience massive hailstorms in the summertime, sudden temperature swings, and even just a huge windstorm. It just comes out of nowhere. It's a very up and down bipolar type of weather here, so the weather can be very unpredictable at times. But now, since we've got all of the negatives and the cons out of the way, let's get into the good stuff, the pros. So one of the biggest advantages to moving to Calgary is the affordability, especially in the housing market. So compared to cities like Vancouver, Toronto, and even New York or LA, Calgary still by far offers way more affordable housing options for everybody. So in Vancouver, for example, you can find a typical normal detached house for $1.5 million. And if you were to put that same building in Calgary, you could find that in, depending on which neighborhood you are in, obviously, it's going to be way lower. So for people who are just looking for more space and better value for their money, Calgary is by far one of the better options out there. And another benefit that Calgary has is the proximity that it has to the Rocky Mountains. So right from downtown Calgary, it's just a 1.5-hour drive to maybe 2-hour drive all the way to Banff and to Canmore. And these are world-class mountains. And if you drive through them, they make you feel like you're on a different planet. These mountains are huge, and it is something that is on a lot of people's bucket list, but very few people are actually able to experience these mountains too. They are literally just in your backyard. If you actually like skiing, hiking, snowboarding, mountain biking, or just exploring mountains. So for this lifestyle factor specifically is one of the most attractive reasons why people end up moving to Calgary. So another financial advantage to moving to Alberta is that there is no provincial sales tax. And in many other provinces, you will pay anywhere from 12% to 15% on everything that you purchase. But in Alberta, you only pay the federal GST, which is only 5%. So ultimately, that's going to make a huge difference in everyday purchases, and it's going to add up slowly and slowly. And it's even going to make a massive difference on larger purchases as well. So if you're coming from British Columbia or if you're coming from Ontario, this is a very welcoming change. So Calgary also has a lot of newer master planned communities. Neighborhoods like Mahogany, Seton, Livingston, and many, many others are designed with beautiful parks, walking paths, schools, shopping areas, and recreational spaces built right into the community. And these communities are often very, very family friendly, and they offer modern homes and amazing amenities. So for buyers looking for new developments and well-planned neighborhoods, Calgary is a very attractive option. So finally, one of the biggest reasons why people move to Calgary is the lifestyle. The city offers an amazing contrast to urban living and access to the nature as well. You have vibrant downtown restaurants, events, you have entertainment, but you also have the rivers, the parks. And mountain access is just not that far away as well. Calgary is also known for being extremely clean. And the city also has a very strong sense of community in lots of neighborhoods, and it is one of the most safest places to live in. I've lived in multiple different places in Canada as well, and I have had no problems in Calgary. You hardly see any tent cities here. For many people, the balance between working, lifestyle, and the nature just makes it a very attractive place for most people to live. So those are some of the biggest pros and the cons of living in Calgary, Alberta. And just like any city, it is not perfect, but for many people, it offers an amazing mixture of affordability, lifestyle, and opportunity. And if you're thinking about moving to Calgary, Alberta, and you need some help with the neighborhoods or homes here, feel free to reach out to me. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll also be dropping a lot more videos about living in Calgary and the Calgary real estate market. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you guys in the next video. Peace.